All right, just a quick survey here, or a quick lecture here. So this was one of the issues that people were coming across, and the ones I used for mine, apparently I picked the exact right ones. It didn't have an issue, and it tracked fine. And you can see here, this tracks pretty good. This is a one of Autumn's. It's tracked. It looks like it's good here. But then when you pre-compose it, composition, Teddy on bench. There he is. Okay, so we go into the final one, and then we play it. You can see that it's like shaking. So the issue is that the video itself is like locked in, but the text, for whatever reason, decides that it wants to keep shaking. So the fix for this is to basically lock it in so that that doesn't change from one comp to the other. So that frame A is exactly frame A from one to the other one. So what we do, and this is something that you could do not only for this situation, but a lot of times in the industry you'll do this if you have a lot of stuff happening and you know, like, okay, this area is locked in, I'm not going to change it. You can render out just that area and then bring that area back in and use that as a solid piece of footage. So imagine like your Angry Birds was one scene of an entire movie that you had. You wouldn't want to have to open your one After Effects file and have all of these scenes loaded, because when you hit render, it'll take forever for all that to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to File on just the one that works. So this is the scene that works. I'm going to go to File, Export, and I'm going to add it to the regular render queue. Not the media encoder. You can still do it there, but I'm going to do it to the regular render queue. And under the word lossless, you click right on that. You choose a TIFF sequence. I hit OK. I give it an output. So I'm going to put this into, in this case, Autumn's folder, inside artwork. I'm going to make a new folder called Teddy. And then just give this a name, period. Leave the brackets and the pound signs and the other bracket, a .tiff, and then hit save and then hit render. And what this is going to do is it's going to go through and it's going to actually render out each frame of this and lock it into that thing. So instead of us having a movie and a piece of text as two separate elements, it's basically just going to have like the one thing. It's basically just an animated sequence or a movie that will then bring back in. Okay, so that's done. So then I'm going to go back to my final. I'm going to import, find that piece of footage again. Okay, here is that sequence. So this is basically every frame is rendered out. I'm going to hit, I just need to click on one of these, hit TIFF sequence. And then I'm just going to click on Teddy on the bench, hold Alt, and then just drag this down. And it'll replace it exactly. So now when we hit play, you'll see that there's no jitteriness. That's locked in.
So now we're using the same method you would if you were importing the sequence from 3D.
We're correct, right? So we're exporting it out as a sequence. Now we could export it as a movie, but the movie's going to compress it again. And then when we bring it back in and then we compress it again, now it's like being compressed several times. So saving it as a sequence, we're basically like making sure that we have the highest quality from that version to this one. And so again, this is something that you will typically see in the industry because that's locked in. I know that's not going to change, so I'm going to render it out. And what will happen is this process of us being able to even play this or render this portion out will go a lot faster because it's not trying to calculate the video, the camera movement, and the text all moving together. It's just a flat video, okay? And the same thing here. We would do the exact same thing. We would just go into that one if it's jittery. We would go to export and export this out. Click on lossless, make sure it's a TIFF sequence. Go to the output 2, give it its own folder. You could also, instead of making a folder here, I could just put the dot in and then just type down here, chess, and then render it out.
I don't know why that one's like that, because it's not on my computer.
This might be the wrong piece of footage. I just replaced it with a piece of footage that somebody else had. And then I'll just go back into this area, re-import the next piece of footage, go back to the final, go back to chess, Alt drag it down, and there it is. Okay, and then I would go back and re-render out this whole thing as a nice clean piece of footage. Okay, it does no good to have a piece of tracking footage if you put that in your demo reel and it's shaking back and forth. Okay, and sometimes as you're like in this scene like this and you're going and looking at it, it may look fine as you go like this, but actually rendering it out and then seeing it live, that's where you really see that that issue of that text kind of shaking back and forth. Okay, so that's just a little fix. I passed out whatever graded sheets that I had. Any updates that you want to do, fixes, whatever else, I need those by the end of next week. So by the 28th, any fixes you're doing, that's the last date to turn in fixes. The last assignment, the social media one or social awareness one, there's no sheet for that one. Okay, because there's no, I'm not going to return that to you and then you check it over and fix it. That's it. That's our last big assignment. So with that one, you're just going to be turning in your movie for it. Okay. Remember, on the 21st, we're not here, which is Wednesday. The college is closed after today until next Monday. The 26th and 28th, we're here. The December 3rd, we're here. And then December 5th, 5th, that's our final exam. So when you come in that day, I'll show you, this is what I want you to do. Here's the assignment. And you'll spend the class building that final exam piece. And then when we come in on the 12th, there it is, no, the 10th, when we come in on the 10th, that's the day we'll watch all the demo reels. So we'll have one more assignment after this, which is a demo reel assignment. That's typically a short one, like I said, about an hour. Usually it's how long it takes people to make that. Cool. Questions? Yes, sir.
Demo reels and the project that we're currently working on, when are they due? I'm sorry.
They're going to be due on the 5th.
Both of them are due on the 5th?
Yes.
Demo reel and
The demo reel, the social awareness, and the final exam will all be due on the 5th. That way when we come in on the 10th, I have all the demo reels, and then we can watch them. I'll go over that on the 3rd. I'll go over that. Well, maybe the 28th I'll go over that. That way you have the weekend to kind of think about it if you need to. Cool. Anything else?